Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And yeah, welcome to my session. Thank you for this nice introduction. First of all, I hope you had a good lunch. I know now the energy bar is getting a bit down. So the first thing I would ask you to do is please group up in pairs of 2 and sit next to each other. So everybody should be in the range of another person. Explanation follows in a minute. All right, thank you so much. So, again, my name is Philipp Busch, and the last 5 years I worked in the sector of development cooperation, specifically for the company GIZ, which is the German Development Corporation. In the meantime, I wrote my PhD on gamification in development cooperation, and I had a lot of possibilities to use this amazing approach that we are all loving to try it out in the real world. So, today, this is a quick overview about the talk. We had a lot of discussions also in the coffee. What is gamification? What is serious games? Everybody can have another opinion on this, but to clarify it, I want to, have some words on this. What does it mean for me? I will give you a quick overview about a specific project in development cooperation where we use serious games for the peace support in Yemen. And finally, the biggest part will be the 2 MOOCs that we did in the development cooperation sector. And I give you some recommendations that you could take into consideration for your next creation of a digital learning scenario. If you find this Easter egg in the presentation, then you should stand up and give the biggest high five ever to your neighbor. If you see this Easter egg again. All right? Okay. First of all, gamification and serious games. So, I think I'm quite aligned here with Roman from yesterday, but I will repeat it for those who missed that session. For me, gamification is more based on the real world, where serious games are more based into the game direction. Basically, a serious game, you know that you're playing a game. You know that you're in a simulation and you're aware that you're playing a game. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're aware of playing a serious game. However, you know that you're playing a game right now. On the other hand, we have gamification, and for me, gamification is the reality enriched by game elements. So, to sum it up, for me, serious games are games with a higher target or a higher purpose than pure entertainment. So they want to educate, they want to teach, they want to do, like a behavior change perhaps. And the gamification is the reality combined with game elements. Then, quite a misconception, sorry, this mic, like this, okay. Quite a misconception is that gamification needs to be digital. That's not true at all for me. You have applications, for instance, or digital solutions. A serious game can be an application, but it can also be a serious board game or a serious card game. On the other hand, as well, gamification can be a gamified app, but it can also be a gamified training situation or whatever, right? So this is the reality, the real world combined with game elements, and it can be the real world as you can see it here, or it can be the digital world as well. Okay. Next one is about the secrets of Arabia Felix. Right now, in Yemen, we're having a civil war, and it is supposed to be the biggest human catastrophe in the world, right? And over 70% of the participants are needing humanitarian help, and a lot of them, suffering quite a lot. I'm in contact with a lot of them, and it's just horrible. And we from GIZ, we want to improve the situation over there through different activities we're doing. One is using serious games for the peace support. What we're doing over there is Together with the Yemenis, we are creating those serious games. That should work, that you can see here. All of this content is developed by Yemeni people, also the videos and stuff. I know it doesn't look too professional, but you know, like, we're super proud of what our partners did over there. There are different topics, different target groups that we're tackling. It's about gender, it's about peace, good governance, reconciliation, disarmament. And these topics are tackled, education are topics that are tackled within these games. And yeah, they're of course downloadable for free in Yemen and everywhere, but especially also in Yemen. It's in English and in Arabic, so if you want to check it out, you can do so. We started in 2017, and at the beginning we created like 80% of the apps of the app development process was done in Europe and 20% in Yemen. We used the design thinking approach to include like the target group from the very beginning and get the stories from the Yemenis itself. And due to a lot of capacity building activities that we did, now it's the other way around. 80% now is done in Yemen and only some coordination work done by us. Here are some numbers. Now we're having 7 serious games that are downloaded over 70,000 times in Yemen itself, and with an average rating of 4.9. And what is an interesting story about, like, we were in the top 3 in Yemen in the Play Store, directly behind FIFA and Clash of Clans, but not because our game could compete with those big players, but like the feedback from the people was that they are really proud of their own Yemeni products, you know, a Yemeni product that is done by Yemenis for Yemenis. So these kind of lower budget games are really able to compete against the big players. Okay, this is just, this is also Lujane. This is one of our female developers.
I can definitely say that there's a good positive impact when I saw the feedback for online for the games, the comments that people wrote. They were so proud to finally see something Yemeni and nice online, and they were so happy to see that it actually has a message, and it gives them this vision of what Yemen could be, which gives them hope and motivation to look forward for the future, and that there is a chance that we can change things in Yemen. So it basically embedded this positive hope in their minds that they can still make a change, and it showed them of where Yemen can be if we can make a change. Thank you.
And this was Lujane, as I said, one of our female developers, and as you can see there, we really started a movement there in Yemen. We are also supporting these activities with the apps, with a lot of online and offline promotion campaigns. We're on social media, Facebook with over 45,000 followers from Yemen, and having there a neutral space for coexistence and communication. Having a lot of offline activities in schools and hospitals and soccer events and stuff like this. And also on YouTube, we're having different events over there. As you can see here, this is one picture from July. And we did the first game jam hackathon in Yemen ever over there, which was a great success for us, a huge risk, of course, as well, because right now there's civil war. There's really airplanes and airstrikes each day. So it's a horrible setting over there, but those people are so convinced of the project that they kind of risk their life, they risk their life to get there and to build a better future. Yeah. Okay, this is just a quick overview, a showcase of an example of gamification or serious games in development cooperation, what we're doing right now. This is one of the biggest projects we're doing in this field, and we also in the past did 2 MOOCs in the sector of development cooperation. I want to give you the learnings out of these MOOCs. The first MOOC was the Gamification for Development MOOC in cooperation with the United Nations, and this was 2016, And our target was to really raise the awareness of the topic of gamification in the development cooperation world, and also to collect some existing examples of the community. Right? It was 6 weeks. We had a super nice concept. We were super proud of when it started, but it failed. And I will also tell you why. I will tell you why in like the 10 recommendations I give you afterwards. As you can see also here on the numbers, these are percentages of activity, right, of the registered users. So from week 1, we only had around 20% activity of the registered users, right? And this stayed the same kind of, and at the end we came out with the regular MOOC numbers, and yeah, which was quite disappointing for us. On the other hand, after a while then we started another MOOC, Quality for Digital Learning, with the target to create new evaluation criteria for the new digital learning approaches, right? And also we wanted to improve our network, and this one was luckily a success that you can also see here on the numbers. From week 1 we had active participation of 80%, and it went down, yes, but not so far. And at the end, we had output uploaded with around 40% of the participants. And if you're aware of some MOOC numbers, normally it's less than 10%. So this was a huge success for us. The learnings I will, of course, share with you. Right? So what did we good, what did we wrong in the other MOOC? So 10 rules or recommendations that I give to you. First of all, a super important one for us was the V vision, you know, the epic meaning behind it. As you can see here, we started kind of a mini story. We had an open house, which was kind of a library, and you know, people could come in and share their knowledge with others, and we wanted to create this criteria for new digital learning environments, for good digital learning environments, and the people were really convinced that they are part of something bigger. And of course, Wikipedia, you all know Wikipedia, they have a super good V-vision or an epic meaning, creating the knowledge of the world together, building it together, and there you're participating in being something bigger than you are. So in your project, if you're having the chance of integrating an epic meaning or a V-vision, this really helped for us. Then the user evolution. This is quite a big one because your user or your learner will not stay the same while using your digital learning platform. So at the beginning, you start with the first contact. So this is really when the user is getting the first contact with your platform. And you know, this model is done, influenced by a lot of authors, Maslow on the one hand, Stolzenberg and Heberle, also the flow channel, and you can find a lot of things in there hidden somehow. So the user goes through your platform, starting with the first contact, and there he has to be or she has to be convinced, you know, convinced that this platform is an added value for her or him. The next phase would be the orientation. You have to be very careful not to overtax your users with the functionalities, all your functionalities that you offer at the very beginning. And this was a huge mistake that we did in the first MOOC. We had a great concept of a lot of great functionalities that could work out, but this was just too much for the people, you know? And what we decided in the second MOOC is to unlock functionalities on content step by step. While the user is improving or increasing, evolving in the system, you unlock the system. Sounds familiar from each game that we are doing, but using this for digital learning scenarios was also very successful. Then you go for the structured repetition. Basically, when you're having each week new content, this is something that the people are getting used to, and that's a good thing, because they're having this repetition, and there also social functionalities work out really well. You know, connect them with other people, having learning groups and stuff. Then the maturity. And not everybody is getting there to the maturity. These are also normally in the MOOC, the people that are doing the output at the end. And they're aware of all the functionalities that you're having on your platform. And for those people, you can also decide to add another functionality, perhaps becoming a moderator, becoming a mentor or something like this, and promoting them through their mastery. And at the end, it's the creativity. I talked about this yesterday a little bit. If you have the possibility to open up your platform and a space for creativity, putting a space for creativity, then it's one of the most powerful long-term intrinsic motivators that you can provide. All right, then, make it social. Quite an easy one, I would say. You can use different formats, such as a forum, for instance, give them a possibility where to exchange. Also, the types of videos that you upload. Make them natural, make them real, you know? You can, whatever, it was a rainy day and I took a learning video on the streets of Cologne over there, rather than being like in this super clean atmosphere of a studio or something like this. You know, be real also in those videos. And here we had also interesting functionalities, most like this week. So we had, this is kind of a hidden leaderboard of the community. So content that was uploaded by the community and was most liked, not the most quantity, but the best quality, was showcased here. And the chat, and this sounds silly, and at the very beginning I was not sure to implement this on the page, but it turned out to be one of the most powerful communicators on the page itself. Because when the people entered the platform, they had the feeling that they're not alone. Because the chat was really used. And they say, hello everybody, how is it going? And then you have like 5 responses, and then you're not in a web-based training isolated for yourself in front of a PC, but you're part of an active community that are really in the room itself with you. Yes. So, number 4 would be visual, right? You have a strong tool with this, because with the visualization, you can stimulate basically not only the experience, but the imagination also of your users and of your learners. As you can see here, you know, like we're having the open house where the people can come in, upload content when they want. In the forum, they can exchange the rooms of the webinars and stuff like this. And this basically tells you kind of a mini story for navigation, right? I walk from there to there, I meet other people in this spot and stuff like this. And everything happens in their imagination, but it makes you way more connected to the platform rather than just, you know, clicking on point A, B, then clicking on point C and stuff. Not only for the navigation, but also for the learning content itself, for the learning structure of your content. You can use super easy paintings like this and visualize the learning path of your learners, right? To see, okay, there's an optional bonus challenge, which is, you know, a mountain next to it, and the different guest spots. Yeah, Monica Cornetti, Alessia Misuti, and Yukai Chu were also giving some lectures over there. And at the end, you can decide if you want to go learning activity A or B. Then usability matters. And this was one of our hardest breakout points for the first MOOC, because we used a Moodle platform and tried to adapt it to our needs, but it didn't really work out. So usability matters, especially, like, of course, in the development cooperation, when a lot of people are not so used to use IT systems, right? Especially then, but normally always usability matters, of course. And I can encourage you to also play with mock-ups and test it with some users to see that early failures can be, you know, improved, basically, and see how it looks at the end. Then, technical limitations, number 6. Of course, this is especially urgent in development cooperation, but I think all around the world, depending on your target group. If you want to go for big videos and stuff like this, it's not always a good idea, because, for instance, in Kenya, in a village, they will never have the possibility to download your video. They have problems with internet connection, the bandwidth, and so on. So you have to have an option B for them, right? So this is, I think, a quite clear one, but on the other hand, we were surprised by this little shitty like button over there, because we really wanted to include this like button, and we were super proud at the beginning. Yes, we can like content and stuff like this, but you're used from Facebook that when you click on the like button, it's immediately there. There's no delay at all, right? You click on you like, and then it's there. In our platform, it took like less than 1 second that it's there because of, like sending a request from server, and that was too much. So because like if you click on the like button, then it was delayed, like it was frozen for less than a second, but that was enough from the usability perspective that people didn't use the like button anymore. And we would never have thought about this before that, because it's less than 1 second, but it matters. The user journey. It is really important to understand your target group and your learner. As we can see here in this pyramid, the psychological core drives basically work for most of the people. Then if you want to create and gamify a system, you should also take into consideration the culture of your target learners. Then within the culture, the target group. And a lot of people are missing the actual situation. So where and when is your user using the device and getting into the learning scenario, right? So is it in front of a PC? Is it while working? Is it at home? Is it in the train? Wherever. And according to this situation, what you expect your user to be, then you have to create your learning system around it. Because if you're only having like 45 minutes lectures, online lectures, and your people are only using like your learning system in the bus, it will never work. Number 8, use different evaluation techniques. Definitely you can go for a pre and post questionnaire. I think that's quite a straightforward one. But you also have different possibilities. For instance, mapping. Mapping is always super interesting to see where are your users, where are they from, and how was the rating of the experience different in each country. Furthermore, the number of registrations could be interesting. This was for the second MOOC, so we had over 2,000 participants over there. But to be honest, yeah, it's a nice number to have, but to be honest, it's not really saying a lot, this number. Number of registrations can be also people that are not active at all. So what we did is we created an activity index, which basically transfers the activity of the whole community on the platform to this, to this line over there. And then you can analyze whether your stimulations on the platform work out or not. New content, does it lead to more activity? Unlocking new functionalities, does it lead to new activity over there? You have to understand your community and how they are reacting to your inputs, basically. And therefore, you need some evaluation techniques. And PBLs work. For us, at least. Normally, like when you're starting with gamification, level 1 is, yes, you use PBLs. Level 2 is, no, they are extrinsic motivators. I leave them aside, they don't work. And number 3 is, yes, if you know how to use them, right? Especially in an environment like a MOOC setting, PBLs, in our case, were super useful. We also used badges and points and leaderboards, and super careful with leaderboards, by the way, a huge question mark or quotation mark on this. But badges and points and leveling up, progression bars, all these extrinsic orientations were helpful for us. We had early badges for people that were, like just starting and entering the platform. They were easy to get and super hard badges to get, and also hidden badges to get, because those hidden badges, as you perhaps know, they create more dopamine in your system because it's an unexpected reward. Also, like from the community over there, people were congratulating each other for getting a badge, And that's kind of weird because it's nothing tangible, it's nothing real. It's only for the duration of those 6 weeks, and the people were really, yeah, congrats, you did this very well, and it was a vivid community around it. And the last one, be aware of the over-justification effect, especially in learning scenarios, right? Because as I said, extrinsic rewards work, but you have to know how to use them. For instance, in our setting, we did not put a single extrinsic reward on a learning. We only stimulated activity on the platform itself. Especially giving an orientation when you enter the platform, how do you do, like posts and stuff like this, but not for the learning itself. Because this will distract your learners from the actual learning, and only chasing those extrinsic rewards, right? So be aware of this over-justification effect that can limit your creativity and kill your creativity if you put an extrinsic reward on an intrinsically motivating activity, afterwards, removing the extrinsic reward, and this will kill or can kill your intrinsic motivation that you had at the very beginning. And human beings are intrinsically motivated to learn. So you don't have to push them through badges and points and stuff. So this is something that we really learned from the first MOOC to the second. In the first MOOC, we did extrinsic rewards on learnings. On the second, we didn't, and we had way more activity in the second. All right, to sum it up, gamification and serious games are getting a lot of recognition right now in the development cooperation. As you can see also, for instance, with the Peace Support Yemen project. Then you can use, if you want to, those 10 rules or recommendations that we learned from the failing and the succeeding MOOC for yourself, for your own learning scenarios, but you should tailor them according to your own setting, to your own scenario, right? All right, that's it. If you want to stay in contact, thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.